Hey, it's Vicky, and today I'm here with my magic teacup to do another episode of 100 Epic Reads. So you can kind of see it behind me, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about. This is a series I've been doing for many a year on my channel, where I'm trying to read through this wonderful poster, the 100 Epic Reads of a Lifetime. And I'm currently about 75% through. So it's just this project where I'm trying to read these books. Some of them have been great. Some of them have not been great. Some of them have been quite challenging, but also great. It's been a journey, and I'm excited to continue that journey with you today. So the way this works is I pick 2 books out of my teacup, and I decide which book I'm gonna read, and then I vlog about it, and then at the end I get to scratch off the poster and it reveals a cute little cover, so it's fun. And like I said, it has been quite a journey. There have been quite a few books on this poster that I would have never read had they not been on the poster. So yeah, this year so far I have only done one of these videos. In February I did the Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, and I actually enjoyed it. It was pretty good. So not a bad way to start the year. So we're gonna pick 2 more. I have created a new rule for myself that I started in February when I did this, because I have been finding that there are books in here that I still have not picked at all. And then I have books that I have picked multiple times and have not read yet. And so the only new rule I've implemented, and I'm letting you know so that I can hold myself accountable, because if I pick it this time, I have to read it. So Midnight's Children, I cannot remember the author, but I have picked that book twice now and have put it back into the cup. So I told myself in the last video, I told you guys in the last video, that if I pick that book again, I have to read it. So it's one of those ones that's kind of intimidating, long. I've heard it's slow, so I'm a little scared. So I really hope though that this time I pick a book I have never picked, because there are so many left that I haven't picked. There's like 3 Charles Dickens books. I haven't picked any of those. There's a lot of books. So let's hope we get something new this time. Okay, so we're gonna start with, let's see. I feel like I haven't done a blue. I'm gonna do blue. And then I'm gonna do this orange one. All right, here we go. Let me put my cup down. Okay, the first one, we'll do the blue one first, is Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Have I picked this one before? I don't think I have. I don't know. Okay. So in typical fashion, I don't know anything about this book. I think they made it into a movie, correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. But let me look it up on Storygraph so that I can get some more info. Okay, so this is a fairly, I say fairly new, but it's like 40 years old. That's how you know I'm a millennial. I'm like, oh, 1985 wasn't that long ago. It was 40 years ago. But Love in the Time of Cholera was published in 1985. And it is this edition anyway on Storygraph is 348 pages, so nothing crazy, nothing crazy. Let's read. Okay, it has a 3.71 rating, so not terrible, with 32,275 reviews, so pretty good, pretty good. And let's read the synopsis, because I have no clue what this book is about. In their youth, Florentino Ariza and Fermina Daza fall passionately in love. When Fermina eventually chooses to marry a wealthy, well-born doctor, Florentino is heartbroken, but he is a romantic. As he rises in his business career, he whiles away the years in 622 affairs. Yet he reserves his last heart for Fermina. Her husband dies at last, and Florentino purposefully attends the funeral. 50 years, 9 months, and 4 days after he first declared his love for Fermina, he will do so again. So that description, seems a little spoilery to me, but okay, so it's a romance, clearly. The little like tags in Storygraph that they use, it also says that it is emotional, reflective, slow paced, and then it has magical realism in it. So that's interesting because the description doesn't really say anything about that other than that there's 622 affairs. That seems like a high number to me. I'm not trying to be judgmental of Florentino, but that seems like a very high number. So okay, I'm not scared of this book. I think, you know, it could be done. I could do this one, but I do want to see what my other option is. So here we go. Cutting for Stone by Abraham Verghese. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm sorry. I feel like I have picked this one before, but I don't remember what it's about. So let's look it up. Okay, so I would have assumed that Cutting for Stone was a much older book. It's not. It was first published in 2009. Okay, that's interesting. And it's a 541 page book. So it's a little bit thicker. It has a 4.24 rating on Storygraph with 16,602 reviews. That's a pretty good rating. So let's see what this book is about. Marion and Shiva Stone are twin brothers born of a secret union between a beautiful Indian nun and a brash British surgeon. That is a tongue twister. British surgeon. Orphaned by their mother's death and their father's disappearance, bound together by a preternatural connection and a shared fascination with medicine, the twins come of age as Ethiopia hovers on the brink of revolution. Moving from Addis Ababa, I know I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry, to New York City and back again, Cutting for Stone is an unforgettable story of love and betrayal, medicine and ordinary miracles, and two brothers whose fates are forever intertwined. So, this is a kind of a tough choice because I don't know. Both books are marked as slow paced on Storygraph, which I shouldn't consider because what's slow paced to someone might not be slow paced to me. I don't know which one to pick because they both seem like they're going to be kind of challenging. So I guess it just has to come down to, am I in the mood for magical realism romance or emotional family drama things? So because I'm like really stuck and I really don't know, I'm gonna just go with the overall rating, and because I'm just really intrigued that Cutting for Stone has such a high rating. So I guess that's what I'm gonna go with. So I'm gonna go with Cutting for Stone. I'm going to put Love in the Time of Cholera back in, oh wait, I gotta turn it around the other way. Back in the cup for another day. And yeah, I'm gonna try to find a copy of Cutting for Stone. Since it's a fairly newer book, I mean newer meaning it was published in the last, 20 years. It shouldn't be that hard to find. So we're gonna go with that. So I'm gonna find myself a copy, and once I get it started, I will give you guys my initial thoughts. All right, so I've officially started Cutting for Stone. I'm about 80 pages in, and I don't really know how I feel about it. It seems like, and it's probably because it's such a long book, that the first 80 pages, there's still a lot of build-up going on, introductions and such. So the story is being told from Marion, who is telling the story as a 50-year-old man, but he's telling you about his childhood. And so it starts at the beginning when his mother gave birth to him and his twin brother Shiva. And she was a nun and a nurse in Ethiopia, but she was from India. And his father is a doctor who I think he was British, but his parents like worked together at this hospital in Ethiopia. And so all you're really getting right now is sort of the description of his birth story, basically. And it gets sort of medical, it gets sort of graphic. And as birth can be sometimes, you know? So that's really all that's happened. The writing is it's a little much sometimes, but I'm doing the audiobook. So I'm listening to the audiobook as I'm reading, and that's helping me to stay focused on the text. And then, yeah, that's just kind of what's happened. So it's interesting because I'm actually, right now, I've been watching this new show on Max called The Pit, and it's a medical drama. And usually I don't really get into medical dramas because I'm squeamish, but I can do it sometimes. Like, I liked Scrubs. Scrubs was one of my favorite shows of all time. It's more of a comedy. And then I did like House, which I know was completely unrealistic, but I did like that show. But The Pit supposedly is very true to life. And it basically covers this emergency department in Pittsburgh, and every episode is an hour of their day. So the entire season is one day in this emergency room, and it's really good. But the last 2 episodes have been really tough to watch. I won't say why because I don't want to spoil it for people, but I was struggling the past 2 episodes. Like, I probably spent half of the episode with my eyes closed and just listening to what was happening because there was so much graphic stuff going on screen that I couldn't handle it. I thought I was gonna faint. So reading this, getting those like medical descriptions compared to The Pit doesn't seem that bad. But I don't know, I guess we'll just see how it goes. But as of right now, I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I do love this particular copy though. It's very floppy and I love that. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading and we'll see what happens because right now not a lot's happening. So I finally finished the part where Marion and his brother are born, and that ended, part 1 ended on page 131. So other than like a couple of chapters in the beginning and maybe 1 or 2 intermixed, this birth scene was 131 pages, which seems a little bloated to me, just a little bit. But yeah, so I don't know if that's indicative of how the rest of the book is going to be, but we shall see. So it is a very rainy spring day, but I wanted to check in with you guys on Cutting for Stone. I have to admit, I haven't actually read this book in a couple of weeks. I don't know what happened. I just kind of fell into a reading slump, and I think it might have started with this book, but I'm not sure. Because it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's just, it's a very slow-paced kind of book. And I don't know. I wasn't feeling super inclined to pick it up. But once I would pick it up, it was fine to read. But I just kind of fell into a slump and I just didn't want to read anything. I had other books going. I had an audiobook going and I didn't want to read at all. I was wanting to do other things. So I kind of just let it ride. But we are starting a new month. I had every intention of reading this in April. And it just didn't happen. But today is May 1st. I'm ready to pick it up again and get going. But I realized that I haven't really checked in with this book and I'm almost 400 pages into it. So, like I said, I'm enjoying it, but it's a very slow go. At this point in the book, our main character, Marion, is 14. So he is going through puberty, starting to think a lot about sex and girls and things like that. And there's a particular girl, her name's Gennett, I think, that he is particularly really enraptured by. And she's a girl that they've grown up with, but he's kind of had a little crush on her, loved her since they were little. And now that they're like teenagers, it's just really amping up. So, this book has been good. I don't know. I would say the characters are pretty interesting. My favorite characters in this book are Hema and Ghosh. They are kind of Marion and Shiva's parents, because when they were born, their mother died, giving birth to them. And their father, who is a doctor from, I want to say Britain, he basically like jumped ship. He just left and they don't know him. So Ghosh and Hema are like their parents, and they're probably my two favorite characters. I love their dynamic. Ghosh especially brings a lot of humor to the story. The part that I just got through dealt with some political turmoil going on in Ethiopia, because this takes place we're in the 60s right now, but at the time where this political unrest was happening was in the 50s, where there was an attempted coup in Ethiopia. And so this book kind of, Marion and some of the other main characters, live through it, and are affected and traumatized by that coup. And so that part was really intense, I would say. But otherwise, it's pretty much a just coming of age type of book. You're just with Marion as he's growing up. You're seeing him start to become more and more interested in being a doctor, and learning about medicine and things like that. And so it's going fine. It's just one of those books that I can't just sit there and knock out 50 pages. It's a very slow go, and I have to take my time. And so that's what I'm doing. I had to put it down. Like I said, it's been weeks since I picked this book up. But I'm ready to get back in. And hopefully this go around, I will be more successful in finishing it. So yeah, I am at work. I just pulled in. So I'm going to do that. But when I have the audiobook for this, so I'm going to try to not only listen to it like on my commute and stuff like that, but also when I'm reading it physically with my eyeballs, I'm going to do the audiobook as well. And hopefully that will help me just kind of keep chugging along. And it's not that I'm trying to force myself to read it or to finish it, but I feel like if I let too much time go by, I might get slumpy again, and I don't want that to happen. So, all right, so I'm going to go into work, do some work, maybe get some of this read on my lunch break. We'll see. And I'll check in if I have more to say. So it is Mother's Day, and this Mother's Day is a little different in a couple of different ways. The first one being that this is the first Mother's Day that my mom is not here, and it's just kind of weird, honestly. I don't talk about it a lot, but my mom and I, we had our times where we were not okay, and it was kind of a complicated relationship. So with her passing and everything, it's just sort of odd. Of course I miss her, and of course I loved her, but there were a lot of things about her too that I didn't love, and that sort of things that came between us, I suppose. So this day just feels a little weird. Also, Austin isn't here. He's out of town this weekend. So I'm solo parenting, which is fine. It's not like I haven't done it before, but my kids have been fantastic. We've actually had a really good weekend. And they're giving me the Mother's Day that I want, which is to basically do nothing. That's the way I like to do Mother's Day, which really shouldn't come as a surprise to anybody, that I just want to stay home, be in my sweatpants all day, have food delivered. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I just want to relax at home and do as little as possible. And so to all of you out there who are moms in whatever capacity that you are a mom, I hope you have a great Mother's Day. And that being said, in addition to doing nothing, I want to try to read as much as I can, and I have about 100 pages left of this, so and I'm kind of just wanting it to be over. Things have changed, and an important sort of turn of events has now happened in Marion's life, and it's something that has a massive impact on him. And so it's interesting, but it just has taken such a long time to get here. But one of the things that I thought was kind of interesting about this that I never thought about, because I don't know anything about the medical field, even like the hierarchy of medicine, like how, you know, there are doctors that are in residency and then they're attending, and like that whole thing, that sort of stuff, like, and how they get their hands-on training and stuff. I have no clue. But this kind of touched on something kind of interesting, because there's a part where Marion is getting that experience, and the hospital in which he goes to, they talk about how in this particular hospital, and in many like it, that most of the doctors there are from India or other foreign countries, because at this point, I don't think this is too spoilery to say, but he does go to America. And so, and he's kind of like, well, why is, he was kind of wondering why every doctor that he was working with was from a foreign country, and how it's because a lot of doctors in America don't want to work in certain parts of the country. They don't want to work in certain cities or whatever, basically places that are economically depressed, or places where there are a lot of minorities or immigrants or whatever. They don't want to work there. So these hospitals get a lot of their staff from other countries. And I just never knew that. It never dawned on me that was a thing. I don't know if it's like a fact, because again, I don't know anything about the medical field, but I thought that was interesting. And I do like the sort of medical side of this. I think it's probably the best part of the book, is how Marion learns to be a doctor, and his experience having a hospital being such a huge part of his upbringing, having, you know, parents that were in the medical field, and always having that aspiration to be a doctor, that goal, and just seeing him go through it. It's interesting. So, like I said, we have reached a sort of, I guess, climactic part of the book, a sort of turning point that I'm just kind of interested to see where it goes. But I'm really hoping I can knock out a lot of this today, since I'm doing a whole lot of nothing, but hopefully reading. But we shall see. Hopefully the next time you see me, I am done finally with this book, because it has been now like a month and a half since I started it. So I really want to get it done. All right, so I finally done it. It took me a month and a half, but I finally finished cutting for Stone. And overall, I'm gonna give this one a 3-star, which is kind of disappointing, because I really have been wanting these 100 Epic Reads books to really wow me. And I feel like they just haven't. This one, I think the problem with this one that I had was the pacing was just weird. It was a lot of this, which I guess you can't really help but have in a book that's longer than 500 pages. You're gonna sort of have those down times, but the downtimes in here, like the slow parts, were just really slow. I will say the last 100 pages were pretty engaging. Things got a little intense, and I did like how it ended. I thought it had a good ending, but when I kind of step back and look at the whole experience, it wasn't as enjoyable as I had hoped it would be. So hence the 3-star. I think another thing about this that I struggled with was the sort of love story that we have going on in this. And I don't think it's spoilery. I think I've already kind of mentioned it in other clips. But our main character, Marion, is in love with this girl, Gannett, who he grows up with. He knows her pretty much his entire life. And I didn't really love their relationship. It kind of reminded me of Forrest Gump and Jenny, which to me was also sort of a love story that I just didn't agree with. That whole love story, I just didn't like it. And that's kind of what this reminded me of. It reminded me, Marion and Gannett reminded me of Jenny and Forrest, and I just didn't like it. So, yeah, so overall, this book was okay. That's why it's a 3-star. I liked the, surprisingly, I liked the medical aspects of it. Especially, like I said, the last 100 pages does get pretty into some medical stuff, which I thought was kind of exciting, kind of cool. But there was just so much of this that was slow. And the characters, like, even though we've been with Marion for 600 plus pages, I never really, like, got really attached to him. Of course, there were parts where I was rooting for him as a character, but he just didn't grab me the way other protagonists have in these types of coming of age sort of books. And I think in a coming of age story, you really need that. And I struggled with it. So yes, unfortunately, I'm bummed that this was a 3-star, and a 3-star rating isn't terrible. It's just, I was really hoping to get a 4 or 5. So maybe next time, I'm hoping to do another one of these, very soon, because I really am wondering what I'm gonna get next. Like I've said before, there's books on there that I haven't even picked yet, like picked once, and I'm kind of wondering when they're gonna show up. So I guess look out for that. Hopefully it'll be, like I said, soon. So yeah, all in all, I would say maybe read this. Maybe. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this vlog. And like I said, I hope to be back soon with another episode of this one. I really want to like get through this poster and hopefully find some really great ones, because I feel like it has been a minute since I've had like a 5-star come out of this series. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.